Hi, today I am in the George in London, which is the only surviving galleried coach house in the whole of the UK. So this was popular when people had coach and horses, used to ride in, park up their coach and horses and come in here, have a few drinks. It's also famous because Charles Dickens used to frequent it. He mentions it in his book Little Dorrit. Can't say I've read that one, don't even know what it's about, don't even know who Little Dorrit is. If Little Dorrit's a person, don't know anything about it, but he used to come here frequently, as did Samuel Johnson, and it's reported that William Shakespeare has been here. I'm not sure whether that's true, don't have any facts, but the galleries on this coach house are perfect for plays. So they used to have entertainment here. They would have people doing things on the galleries, Romeo and Juliet, famously, that sort of thing. But in today's video, what I want to do is compare the Christmas lunch from Greene King. And Greene King is one of the biggest pub operators in the UK. It's got around 2,700 pubs. So that makes it around about 3 times bigger than Wetherspoons. However, only around 1,600 of those pubs are managed. So there's a difference in the UK between managed pubs, which are basically owned by the company and every one of them operates in the same way, and tenanted pubs, whereby the company owns the pub, but then it leases it to a manager, and the manager can do whatever he likes with that pub, so he can organise his own food and drink. So there's around 1,600 managed pubs for Greene King, so that basically means they're all operating on the same menu, doing the same sort of food. So I'm having the Christmas lunch here today. What I want to do is compare the Greene King Christmas lunch to the Wetherspoons Christmas lunch. So before we get started on the Greene King Christmas lunch, let's remind ourselves of what the Wetherspoons Christmas lunch was like. The food has now arrived and it came within the 10 minutes, so I'm very happy. And here we are. And interestingly, this plate, because we like to talk about the plates, because usually they're quite in your face, a little bit gaudy. This plate actually doesn't look too bad. You can see on the outside, sort of quite conservative for a Wetherspoons pub. Got a bit of a chip in it, but that's fine. I can live with a chip. There's no chips in the actual meal, just on the plate. Okay, so what have we got here? Well, it's quite a big portion for starters, and I've got my turkey breast. So there are 4 slices of turkey here. My chantenay carrots, I've got 2 of those. Some parsnip, I've got 2 pieces of parsnip. I've got some more parsnip and carrots over here. Some peas, a good portion of mash, a ball of stuffing. And stuffing, if you're not familiar with it, is basically what you put inside chicken and turkey when you're roasting it, just to get a bit of extra flavour. It's usually made of sage and vegetable type things, is like a dough that you put in and then it roasts up a little bit. And then I've got some cranberry sauce, and then I've got my pigs in blankets, which are traditional at Christmas time in England. So it's basically a sausage that's wrapped in bacon. So let's get started and see what it's all about. Okay, so I'll start off with a bit of turkey. It's hot, it's nice. It's very sweet actually. The gravy was really nice and sweet. The turkey's very thinly sliced, so it's certainly not been actually sliced. This is sort of processed turkey. You can see that all the slices are pretty much identical. So it hasn't been cut off the bone. This is processed turkey that have been made in a factory where they will get all of the turkey and then slice it mechanically. So not fresh turkey, so not my favourite. If I'm having a roast dinner normally, I would expect to have real turkey, real meat. This is definitely processed meat. Tastes okay. It's not as nice as real. Doesn't have the same texture. It sort of falls apart a little bit because it's processed. It gets reconstituted, or there's a lot of water added to it. So not my favourite. It's okay. It's okay. Let's try this chantenay carrot. The chantenay carrot is a type of carrot, sort of smaller than the big giant carrots that we quite often have in the UK. That's okay too, it's a bit soft. I prefer my carrots al dente. This one's sort of a little bit soggy. It's all right. Let's have a piece of parsnip. So this does actually look like a piece of real parsnip. That's good. That's been cooked well. That's a bit more al dente than the carrots. The carrots are a little bit soggy. Or some of these peas. Definitely frozen peas. They're okay. They pop in the mouth a little bit. Let's try the mash. See what the mash is like. Get a bit of gravy with the mash. The gravy is really nice. The gravy is quite sweet. Mash is a bit watery, a bit soft, it's not been made with real potatoes. This hasn't been mashed today. I would imagine this is made somewhere else. Very, very thin mashed potato, so very watery. Doesn't really taste the potato, so it's okay, but not my favourite. Let's try this stuffing. So let's have a look at it. It's quite thick, quite chunky. Make a bit of the gravy with that. The gravy, a bit of cranberry sauce with the stuffing, give it a bit of extra flavour. The stuffing's nice. Stuffing's nicer than the turkey, actually. I'm a fan of stuffing. We have it every Christmas, so usually make extra, and then you can have turkey and stuffing sandwiches afterwards. It's always quite a nice treat after you've had your main Christmas lunch. It's definitely my favourite thing so far. Let's try this pigs in blanket. So you can see that it's wrapped fully in bacon, this sausage. Let's try it. That's good. That's a winner. Slightly salty, salty bacon, I think. And then the sausage tastes good quality. It's only quite small, it's like a chipolata, but it's packing a punch in terms of the flavour. So in terms of my assessment of the individual portions here, the turkey, I've had better turkey. It's not my favourite type of turkey, processed turkey. The carrots aren't well cooked, they're not great. Parsnips are alright, the peas are okay. The mash is not good, not really like the mash. The stuffing's excellent. Pig in blanket, really good. Cranberry sauce, quite good. So let me crack on, finish the rest of this meal, and then I will speak to you about my overall assessment in terms of what I feel once I've eaten all of it. We'll talk about the price, we'll talk about the whole meal, and we'll give it a score. I'll see you there. Okay, so the food has now arrived. So this is the roast dinner, the Christmas roast dinner from Greene King. Now, I have to say, first impressions, this looks absolutely amazing. So we've got roast potatoes, which were not, they didn't exist on the Wetherspoons lunch. We didn't get any roast potatoes. We've got sprouts, which also were not on the Wetherspoons lunch. So roast potatoes and sprouts, I think, are a mainstay for anybody's Christmas lunch. Talk to anybody, even if you don't like sprouts, everybody knows you always have sprouts on there. Got some chantenay carrots, which have been nicely roasted. Got a big chunk of stuffing. Got some turkey, which looks like it's been freshly sliced. So I'll have a go at that in a moment. I've got a little pot of gravy here, which is quite nice. So you can pour that on yourself and do as you wish. And then I've got a nice bit of red cabbage over here and one pig in blanket. So I've got that as well. So let me pour this gravy on and get started. So I've already got some gravy on the turkey, but wow, there's a lot of gravy here. Wow, there's a really big portion of gravy, which is great because I'm always a big fan of getting everything swimming in gravy when you're having your Christmas lunch or any sort of roast dinner. So I've got a lot of gravy. Let me try the turkey first, because that's obviously the hero of this dish. So I want to see whether or not the turkey is up to scratch. Now, first thing to notice is that compared to Wetherspoons, it's a lot thicker. This is real turkey. This has been sliced by somebody. Wow. So that is real turkey. That is proper, thick, freshly cut turkey. That tastes really good. The gravy is really tasty as well, so it adds extra to it as well. That's really good turkey, really good gravy. Great combination. Let's have one of these roast potatoes. Now, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 roast potatoes here. Let me just cut through this one. This one's got a lot of gravy on it. So you can see it's nice and white and fluffy. It's quite big and thick. So I've had roast potatoes recently where they've been a bit hollow and a bit not very nice on the outside. That looks really good. It's really hot. Okay, it's not that crunchy on the outside, that one. Let me try a different one, see if they're all the same or whether I just got a bad one. Not very crunchy, but it's nice and soft on the inside. It's got a good amount of potato in there as the second one. Right, that's a little bit. That one's better. That was a bit crispier. Let's have this third one, which hasn't got any gravy on it, and see how this comes in. Do you know, they're actually not bad roast potatoes. They're not as crispy as if you were cooking them at home in your own oven, but compared to other Christmas lunches I've had and other roast dinners, that's pretty good. Let's try this pigs in blanket, because this is traditional Christmas fare. You only get it really at Christmas. It's basically a sausage wrapped in bacon. Now this bacon looks a bit fatty. As you can see there, it's like there's a lot of fat on that. So I'll eat it. I wouldn't normally eat fatty bacon, but I'll have a go just to see what it tastes like. Actually wasn't fatty. It was just a bit undercooked. So it looked very pale and white as if it was fat, but actually it was just bacon that hadn't been cooked that well. It was okay. Sausage is all right. No, it's not the best sausage I've ever had, not the best bacon, but it was all right. Let's try this stuffing. So I've got a big chunk of stuffing here. So it's been cut out of a big tray bake of stuffing. Get a bit of gravy on that. See what it tastes like. That's nice. That's really tasty, actually. That's the sort of stuffing I like. It's not meaty stuffing, so it's basically like sage and onion. So the traditional classic that you would have for the roast dinner. A lot of sage in it, quite a strong sage taste, which I like. That's good stuffing, like that. Okay, sprouts. Let's talk about sprouts. Now, this is probably the most contentious part of a roast dinner, because traditionally you have sprouts, and sprouts, if you don't know what they are, if you don't have them, they're basically like a very small cabbage. So it's a green bulbous plant that grows on a stem, and you have maybe 15 or 20 of these little sprouts that come off the stem, and then you pluck them off. And traditionally you would boil these. There's lots of different ways of trying to make them more exciting, but most people in the UK don't really like sprouts, because you force-fed them at Christmas by your mum, and generally they'd be overcooked and mushy and sloppy, make you feel a bit sick, and then your mum would tell you that you had to eat all of your sprouts, and you say, I don't want to eat more sprouts, Mum, I don't like sprouts. So you eat your sprouts, so you're not getting any Christmas pudding, so you'd have to eat your sprouts, and then you'd be just not feeling very good about it. So a lot of people don't have sprouts anymore on their Christmas dinner because they've got bad memories. We're all scarred by PTSD for sprouts. But they have made a comeback in recent years, and if you cook them properly, they're meant to be a little bit al dente, still retain some of their firmness and be tasty. So I haven't eaten a sprout for quite a long time, many years in fact, because of my mental scarring as a child. Let's try this and see what it's like. That's been really well cooked. So it was a little bit al dente, not too much, but it still had some of its texture and firmness. It wasn't really sloppy, which is what horrible sprouts from the 80s were like. Tastes a little bit like broccoli. So if you know what broccoli tastes like, it's had that sort of nice fresh green flavour. I have another one. So obviously I didn't find it too bad that I'm going to try a second one. Do you know what? I think Greene King have turned me around on sprouts. They're actually really good. They're the best sprouts that I've had probably in my whole life. So excellent, really like that. Let's try this carrot. So Chantenay carrots, so small, nice baby little carrots. They look like they've been roasted in the oven. Got a bit of gravy on it as well. Really well cooked, really nice. Retained some of the firmness, so they're not too soft, because if you have carrots that are too soft, then there's a waste of time eating them. Really quite nice they are. And then the last thing that I haven't had so far is the cabbage. So cabbage in this sauce, let's have a bit of that. That's nice. That's what adds a little bit of just extra taste, and it's got that sort of slight chutney type flavour to it that you'd have if you have if you like chutney. So I'm going to mix a bit of the cabbage with the turkey, see how that goes down. I have to say, this is a great Christmas lunch. Really impressed with it, really nice. Turkey is really good quality. Roast potatoes are decent. sprouts are surprisingly good. Carrots are well cooked, stuffing's tasty, cabbage is tasty, lots of gravy, tasty gravy. Can't really fault anything about this Christmas lunch. It's great. So let me finish the rest of this and I'll see you at the end for the wrap up. Okay, so here I am at the end of my Christmas lunch at Greene King. So how did it compare to the Wetherspoons Christmas lunch? Well, I have to say the Greene King one had everything that I was looking for from a Christmas lunch. The turkey was nice, thick, fresh sliced turkey, really succulent, tasty, not dry, really nice. We had roast potatoes, which I think is an important ingredient in any Christmas lunch. I had lots of roast potatoes, and they were pretty decent. No, not the best I've ever had, but they were pretty decent. Had some sprouts on there, which, whether you like them or you hate them, they are an essential ingredient of Christmas lunch, so that was on there as well. Some nice carrots, good chunk of stuffing. I had a little pot of gravy that I could pour everywhere, and had some cabbage in the sauce. So all in all, Greene King Christmas lunch ticked all of the boxes for things that I was like, oh, and a pig in blanket as well. So everything that you're looking for from a Christmas lunch. And it was tasty, it was hot, there was a lot of it, really good. How did that compare to the Wetherspoons? Well, I have to say that the Wetherspoons Christmas lunch, as you saw, not quite as good. So the turkey wasn't fresh turkey, it hadn't been freshly sliced, it was processed turkey, very thin, round, chewy, rubbery, not nice tasting. So I wasn't impressed with the turkey. There weren't any roast potatoes. We had mash, and the mash that had been put in as a substitute for the roast potatoes, watery, not very nice, didn't like it, didn't eat it. No sprouts, which, you know, if you don't like sprouts, then maybe you think that's a bonus, but, you know, you should have the option of sprouts. So no sprouts on there. We had carrots on both. The Wetherspoons carrots, yeah, sliced, not that great. Some peas on there, not that great either. And the stuffing, we had stuffing on both. And there wasn't really enough gravy on the Wetherspoons for my liking. So all in all, when I'm comparing the two, the Greene King one ticks a lot of boxes. Wetherspoons, a bit disappointing. Now, what about the price? Well, here at the Greene King, you don't get a meal deal. So I had to pay for this Guinness separately. That was £6.20, just if you want to bear in mind how much that costs. And then the food itself was £18.50. So in total, £24.70. And that compares to £16.75, including a pint of Guinness at Wetherspoon. So the Greene King Christmas lunch is around about 50% more expensive with a drink than Wetherspoon. So a lot more expensive. Greene King, I think, was more in line with restaurant prices. I think the Wetherspoons one more in line with pub prices. But what's my overall assessment? Which one did I think was better? Well, it's hands down, there is no competition here. As you've seen in the previous video, if you've watched it, the Wetherspoons meal I rated as 6 out of 10. And thinking back on it, I think that was relatively generous, 6 out of 10. I think it was probably took into account the fact that it was relatively cheap, because it wasn't that great. I was a bit disappointed. I don't think it's worth the price of being the most expensive thing on the Wetherspoons menu. Here, £24.70. It is expensive, but it was so much better and it was so nice. And if you're coming for Christmas lunch, you don't mind paying a little bit more because it's Christmas lunch. So, you know, you expect to pay a bit of a premium. It's still not that expensive. It's still only £25 for a meal plus a drink. So it's not breaking the bank. So hands down, Greene King beats Wetherspoons all day long on the Christmas lunch. I know a lot of people who watch this channel are big fans of Wetherspoons, and I'm not saying anything negative against it because it is a nice offering, and if you want to just have a meal with a pint, it's a good, cheap option. But if you want a really nice Christmas lunch, come to Greene King because it is so much better. The turkey is really high quality. You get roast potatoes, you're getting some sprouts on there, you get lots of gravy. It is definitely the better option. Even though it will cost you a bit more, I think it's absolutely worth it. So if you've liked today's video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you again on the next video.